Welcome to Football with Cheese. Hope everyone is having an amazing week so far. In today's video, I want to talk about the Cincinnati Bengals and go over their recent contract extensions with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. But first, let's back up a second. We need to talk about the Bengals' approach and how the trend in the NFL has changed and how they are not adjusting to it. So make sure you are subscribed and enable alerts so you never miss a video. The Bengals are a draft and develop team. Draft and develop means you draft the majority of your roster, re-sign the key players, let the other ones go and replace them in the draft. It's a good strategy. It's my preferred strategy, but it only works if you draft well, year in and year out. You must draft well. You can have maybe one bad draft out of 5. So the Bengals have done this strategy, and they went to a Super Bowl about 4 years ago, something like that. And the next year they went to the AFC title game. So they've had success. Now, part of the strategy for draft and develop, like I said, is re-signing your own players. The best way to do this is to extend the players when they have 1 or even 2 years left on their contract. And in the past, until the last few years, you usually got a discount out of the player. Say the top offensive tackle at the time was making $20 million a year, and you have one of the best offensive tackles. Well, you might say, okay, we'll give you $17, $18 million a year if you sign an extension. And the player would jump at it because it's guaranteed. If you get hurt, you sign your contract, you get paid. All the guaranteed money, the bonus, you'd still get that. Rather than if you say like a 4th round pick, you're making less than $1 million a year, you get hurt, never play again. There you go. So teams draft and develop. The Packers did this all the time. They'd extend their players early before they hit the open market. Because once you hit the open market, you're competing with the other teams, all 31 other teams. So you don't want that to happen. And the player wanted it to sign before the next season started in case they got hurt. So that worked for a long time. And that has changed. And Cincinnati Bengals are not changing with it. Now, if you want to extend your players, you have to give them market value. And you're like, well, why would teams do this? And the Cincinnati Bengals is the reason why you should do this. They could have, now this is rumors, okay? Last year, the rumor was they could have had Jamar Chase for about $36, $37 million per year in an extension. Justin Jefferson, the wide receiver of the Minnesota Vikings, had just gotten $35 million a year on his extension. He and Jamar Chase are two of the best receivers in the NFL. So Jamar Chase wants to get more than him. So maybe $36 million. The other rumor was T. Higgins wanted $25 million a year. Okay? Which, that's a lot to pay for a number 2 receiver, but he'd be a number 1 receiver for half the teams in the NFL. The Bengals wanted to sign them for less than that. They wanted the old school way. We want you to take a discount. But players don't do that anymore. Rarely anymore do that. Now these players, they want market level deals, and some teams are to blame. A lot of people were mad at the Lions when they gave their right tackle Penei Sewell left tackle money, like way more than any right tackle ever gotten. They were mad at the Lions for giving Amon-Ra St. Brown, their wide receiver, more money than any slot receiver gotten. He plays in the slot typically. And at the time, a lot of people in the media said, well, that's probably what they would have gotten in the open market. So why are you extending them? So that's the trend. Everyone now wants to one-up the next person. If I'm a top 10 player, top 5 for sure, but top 10 player at a position, I want to be the highest paid. I want more than the next guy. So players just aren't taking the discounts like they used to. Dak Prescott, for example, was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL last year per year value. He's not the best quarterback. But he had to get more than Jordan Love. He had to get more than Trevor Lawrence because that's the way the system is built now. I need to get more than those. It's my turn. So the Bengals end up paying Jamar Chase $40.3 million on average per year, more than $5 million than any other receiver. The Bengals also made a huge leverage mistake by saying they're going to pay Jamar Chase more than any non-quarterback, and then Myles Garrett gets $40 million a year. So their division rival Browns pretty much screwed them over. So then Jamar Chase had to get over 40. because they said they would give him that. And then T. Higgins gets just under $29 million per year. Could have had him for 25 last year. You had to franchise him twice. And they made a really smart move. Well, T. Higgins did, getting the same agent as Jamar Chase. So he probably negotiated both contracts at the same time. That was brilliant. That gives you even more leverage. So good job, T. Higgins. And Joe Burrow was also pushing to keep both players because he's the quarterback. He wants those two receivers. It's going to make his stats look amazing. The next 5 years, Joe Burrow is probably going to put up amazing stats. And if his team actually makes the playoffs, he'll probably win some MVPs with players like that. So Joe Burrow had power in there. Now they're paying wide receivers more than any teams ever. The Bengals totally blew this. The players had all the leverage, and they gave it to them. And now in future years, they're going to have less salary cap because of this. And then they have the Trey Hendrickson situation. Trey Hendrickson, he's 30 years old. He led the league in sacks last year. He's a great pass rusher. He's not elite. He's not Aiden Hutchinson, Myles Garrett level, but he's very good. And I think he's making $15 million salary, $19 million in cap charge this year. And they let him talk to teams about a trade, but the Bengals are going to want like 2 first-round picks for a player like Trey Hendrickson. And teams value draft picks more than ever. They're not giving up 2 first-round picks for not a Myles Garrett, Aiden Hutchinson level. And most of the teams that were willing to give up a first-round pick are probably late first round. The Raiders aren't giving the 6th pick. Giants aren't giving the 3rd pick. Washington might give up 29, but that's a late first-round pick. So there's no way a trade was going to work. So the rumor is they're talking to him, trying to extend him. But once again, they could have paid him last year. Bengals absolutely blew this. And they have to keep him. They have to keep Hendrickson because there's no other player on the defense that's a playmaker. The Bengals defense has a bunch of guys that are either hurt or just average players. That's their defense. And it wasn't very good last year at all. So that's the Bengals. Totally misjudged it. They're going to have to get with the times. This is the new NFL. Pay your guy early because if you wait a year, you're going to end up paying him more. The salary cap's going up. These agents are smart. They're not stupid. So that's how the Bengals have been operating. So comment down below. Was I too harsh on the Bengals? What do you think about their recent moves? Make sure you share this video, anyone who loves football, so we can grow the channel. I have a Derek Stingley extension video coming next. It'll be a short one, but I want to go over why the Texans did it and what it means for the cornerback position. So make sure you're subscribed. Turn that bell for notification. Like this video. Check these out if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.